Again we'll go to the basics of Bhagavad Gita, जो हम लोग ने पहले भी डिसाइड किया था कि we will go over the overview of Bhagavad Gita, what each chapter signifies. Okay, so that we will remember what Bhagavad Gita contains, right? So what is the first chapter? No. No. Yes. Very good. I'm very happy we are able to remember, because the whole idea of this session is not about some pious activity. We want you to learn Bhagavad Gita. That's the whole idea. The first chapter is all about Arjuna is redefining the definition of success. Because he said, like, what I'm going to do with this kingdom and everything else, right? What is the real success? So that's the first chapter, talks about the definition of success. The second chapter is identity. It talks about who am I actually. Unless until you do not know who you are, how will you define success, right? So that's why second chapter talks about who am I, what's my real identity. So it is rediscovering identity. Okay. Third to fifth chapter is all about action. So once you identify who you are, then ultimately you have to perform actions, right? And that action is nothing but redefining your lifestyle or realigning your lifestyle based on who you are. Many times we are performing actions based on who we are, probably not. That's where the incongruency or the disparity coming between what actions you are performing and who you are, that makes the real problem of the world. Many times have you seen, कभी दोस्त अमेरिका जाके वापस आता है तो हम क्या बोलते हैं, अरे यार कुछ कॉन्ग्रुएंट नहीं लग रहा है, who you are and जो तू अभी बिहेव कर रहा है वो जम नहीं रहा है. It's not like gelling together. Many times you have seen, right? Somebody who is a pure Indian, just because in America he's trying to be an American, right, or behave like an American. You feel, अरे यार, just come back to your roots, okay? So similarly, that is still the bodily concept of life, right? So when you start performing at the level of spirit, level of soul, that is your real actions. Okay, otherwise it will be always incongruent, and that's why we find dissatisfaction with ourselves with the actions that we perform. So Krishna talks so beautifully in this chapters 3 to 5 about redefining your lifestyle or rediscovering your lifestyle or realigning your lifestyle based on who you are. Chapter number 6. Exactly, very good. Remolding your mind, because now you have identified what is happiness, who you are, what is the purpose of life in one sense, like how you perform activities. But while you perform your activity, one particular thing is causing a lot of trouble to you, and that is your mind. As I said, the mind is the one which makes a hell out of heaven and heaven out of hell. Everything boils down to the mind control. So many examples. The big people fall victim to that. Have you heard of Mr. Bill Clinton? Who is Bill Clinton? The ex-president of the United States of America. He couldn't control his mind, he couldn't control his senses. He had to resign from his presidentialship because he got, attracted to his own secretary or something and just doing all kinds of nonsense stuff. Because the mind, he couldn't control his mind. And there are so many examples, right? So it is very, very important that once you understand this success, once you understand who you are, you have known your lifestyle, but the most important thing along with the lifestyle, you need to control your mind. Now, what are the chapters 7 to 9? It's, as we talked about, Bhagavad Gita is like a sandwich, right? So the main masala jo hai, wo beech mein hai. So first 6 chapter talks about Karma Yoga, last 6 chapter talks about Jnana Yoga, and the middle 6 chapter talks about Bhakti Yoga. So the starting of the Bhakti Yoga is 7 to 9 chapter. So what is there in the 7 to 9 chapter? Awakening of love. Because now the mind has been under control, so mind needs something enchanting, right? Mind को कुछ ऐसा चाहिए जिससे वो attract हो सके. And एक ही चीज़ है इस दुनिया में, there's only one thing in this world, is a pure love that can attract your heart. that can attract your heart. Right? People write books and books on Hir Ranja and Romeo Juliet and so why? Because there is so-called love is still so attracting. So can you imagine the love of God could be so attracting? Right? So that is what is reawakening your love. Reawakening your love. And then the chapter number 10 to 12 talks about what? Now you have started to develop love. So you need to know more about that personality whom you love. Right? So that's why chapter number 10 to 12 talks about the divinity. Who is the divine? Talks about the reawakening or the re-understanding the divinity. And then chapter number 13 to 17, what it talks about? Anybody? Now you have understood what the success is, right? After that you understood who you are. After that you understood how to act in this world, right? Define your lifestyle. You also understood how to control the mind. You also started loving God. You also understood who God is, right? After that, what do you need? You need to rechannelize your energy. All your energy should be focused towards attaining the Supreme. So chapter number 13 to 17 talks about channelizing your energy. It's really amazing. And the chapter number 18, the final chapter of Bhagavad Gita, what does it talk about? The most important aspect.
We should remember our purpose.
Exactly. Rediscovering our purpose or remembering our purpose. Not rediscovering, remembering our purpose. Because we have gone all the way from defining the success to who you are, to your acts in the life, all the way controlling the mind, developing love for God, who God is, channelizing all your energy, and ultimately you have to remember your purpose so that you don't deviate by the temptation of this world. You know what is the best alarm clock to get up in the morning? Which company? Samsung, iPhone also has an alarm. So which company is the best alarm clock in the world? Which helps you without snoozing, you will get up in one shot. There is actually a bad weather, in Germany, they used to say, that if alarm goes off once, you don't wake up, then, second alarm is like, not just the sound, but there is some kind of different things will happen in your bed, so that you will get some kind of irritation. Then also you don't get up because, you are so lazy. So third thing happens, there is some sprinklers of the shower will come on you. And still you don't get up. Then they have designed a bed in such a way that the bed will eject you out of the bed. So you have to have this kind of alarm clocks to wake you up in the morning. But what is the best alarm clock? Without single snooze, you can get up. Which alarm clock is that? Huh? No, it's a purpose.
Purpose.
If you have the purpose in the life, there is no alarm clock you need. You will get up on your own. You will get up on your own. And that is what Bhagavad Gita is helping us with that. Once you have that, believe me, it's really amazing. You're doing book distribution down there and Ravi Radhika Mataji was there and Madhav Prabhu was there. And I was so happy. It is not easy to go out and distribute, but once you do that, you become so dear to the Lord. Believe me, you may feel like, what am I doing here? Like strangers are looking at me and giving me looks and what are you trying to sell me and all kinds of things, right? But believe me, in the eyes of the Lord, you are getting closer to the Lord. Because Lord loves who really, really want to do something good to this world. Okay? So that's really amazing. So that's Bhagavad Gita in nutshell. Now there are 5 things that Bhagavad Gita mainly teaches throughout all the chapters. Right? What are those 5 things? Ishwara, that's the last thing, but still that's good. Ishwara, Kala, time, very good. Karma, very good. Ishwara, Kala, Karma.
Mind.
We talked about the second chapter.
Prakriti.
Okay, Prakriti, that's a 4. What's the 5th thing? Second chapter talks about what? Soul. Atma. Right? So the Bhagavad Gita talks about 5 things. First of all, you need to know who you are. Once you know who you are, that is Atma, right? Then you need to know what is this creation is all about, where I am acting in this material world, right? So Atma comes Prakriti, Prakriti comes Karma, because you are performing action in this material world, right? And from this material world you perform action. What is the most important thing you need to perform action? Time. And how time is impacting you. अभी बोलते हैं ना मेरा टाइम सही नहीं चल रहा है भाई, थोड़ा टाइम सही होने दो, बाद में कभी कभी क्या बोलते हैं, when we go and distribute and ask people to come for Bhagavad Gita, वो बुलावा आएगा तभी आएंगे, ऐसे नहीं आ सकते हम लोग। अरे बुलावा के लिए तो हमको भेजा है आपको, हाँ, आई एम कमिंग यू एज अ बुलावा ओनली भाई, कि लो अभी इससे ज्यादा क्या भगवान खुद आएंगे आपको बुलाने के लिए, चल बेटा आजा मंदिर में भगवत गीता सुन ले। बुलावा होता है तभी जा सकते हैं, बुलावा उसका हमेशा होता है। वी हैव टू बी ओपन फॉर दैट। हाँ, तो टाइम हमेशा अच्छा ही होता है। फॉर स्पिरिचुअलिटी देयर इज नो सच थिंग कॉल्ड राइट और रॉन्ग टाइम, देयर इज ऑलवेज अ गुड टाइम फॉर स्पिरिचुअलिटी एंड नेवर मिस whenever there is an opportunity to have a chance to hear about spiritual aspects, be it Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, don't miss it. Don't miss it. It is your true self which really needs. Like we talked about that polishing the cage, right? The bird is dying, the soul is dying. Soul never dies, by the way, but it's been neglected. You've been caring for the cage so much that the bird is absolutely neglected. What is the use of that? The bird will say, feed me, rather than give me the golden cage and all kinds of things. Right? So that is very, very important. So Bhagavad Gita talks about these 5 things. Atma, Prakriti, Karma, Kala and Ishvara. Finally, if I have all these things, if I do not know, don't understand who is Ishvara, and if I don't establish that link, by the way, what is the meaning of yoga? Everyone talks about yoga classes, this, that, yoga. Everyone identifies yoga with asanas and exercise. That is not the meaning of yoga. Yoga comes from the root word called yuj. That means to unite, and unite with no one else but the Supreme. Establishing your link with the Supreme is the meaning of yoga. That's why if you see Bhakti Yoga is one way to establish your link with God. Jnana Yoga is one of the mark, one of the path by which you connect with the Lord. Karma Yoga, through karma you connect with the Lord. That's what yoga means. Yoga doesn't mean just simple exercise. We are just doing in the first 2 aspects of this. Yama and Niyama and Asana, the third thing. उसमें भी यम नियम तो करते ही नहीं है, आसना करते हैं सिर्फ। If you go after the यम नियम, you will say भाई माफ कर दो मुझे, नहीं कर पाऊंगा। उसके बाद ध्यान धारणा समाधि तक जाता है, उसका तो कोई पता ही नहीं है, right? But the real meaning of yoga is to connect with the Supreme, right? So that's what yoga means. So this is what Bhagavad Gita teaches us. 3 yogas, as I said, first 6 chapter Karma Yoga, middle 6 chapter Bhakti Yoga, and the last 6 chapter talks about Jnana Yoga. That's the Bhagavad Gita in a nutshell. So you should remember this by heart. Okay, it's not about you have to go and give exams to somebody, but this will go in your mind, then you will remember forever what Bhagavad Gita is teaching you. So tomorrow anybody comes and try to convince you why you are wasting your time going for Bhagavad Gita and that, then you say, okay, what I learned for the basic question somebody will ask, आपने क्या सीखा भगवद गीता से? Many times people go to classes of Bhagavad Gita, this and that, but if you ask them, तो क्या बोलेंगे? एक ही वर्ष बोलेंगे, कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते, कर्म किए जा, फल की इच्छा मत रख बेटा। अरे भाई, फल की इच्छा बिना रखे मैं कर्म कैसे करूंगा? तो पूरा समझना पड़ेगा ना भगवद गीता। तो भगवद गीता अगर पूरा समझना तो this is what it is in nutshell. Anybody come and tell you, if you give them this understanding, they will be inspired to learn more about Bhagavad Gita. That's why I'm going to repeat until we all memorize this, and not memorize, we actually realize this. Okay? So that's what it is. Now, coming to the point of what did we discuss last time? One very important aspect we discussed last time. Misgivings, yes. What is misgiving? We are identifying with something else. And then we also talked about something very interesting thing. There are 2 aspects. Some people tell us if you go to Bhagavad Gita or spiritual things, what do they call us? You are a, जो भी भक्ति मार्ग में जाता है, या तो mythology, or in other words they call it as a blind followers, Andhashraddhalu. Have you heard of this word? Andhashraddhalu hai हम. विराट कोहली को कोई नहीं बोलेगा अंधश्रद्धालु है, सचिन तेंदुलकर को कोई नहीं बोलेगा पहले आसमान को देखेगा. In fact, forget about this. I think the Indians are still understood बाबा कि उनके पास थोड़ा बहुत spirituality खून में ही है, क्या करेगा बेचारा, इधर जन्म लिया तो उसमें spirituality आ ही जाएगा. People in Australia, England and others, they have a specific things. वो हमेशा जाएगा तो वही टी-शर्ट पहन के जाएगा, खेलने जाएगा. तो एक क्रिकेटर था, वो तो पता नहीं क्या पागल था वो, तो he used to make sure कि उसका जो ड्रेसिंग रूम का टॉयलेट होता था ना, उसका सीट has to be closed. अगर वो आउट हो गया ना, आगे देखा रहे यार ये ओपन है, इसके लिए आउट हो गया. Seriously, Australian cricketer, I'm saying, the big guy, and they call us superstitious, Andhashraddhalu. So what did we discuss? How do we define what is Andhashraddha and what is real Shraddha? What is true faith or what is real faith and what is blind faith? Does anybody remember the difference between the blind faith and the real faith? हम लोग ने एक डेफिनेशन दिया था, if you remember. Okay, I'll tell you that also. HOPES, hopes. So when your faith is not blind faith, then you follow these hopes. What H stands for? Hear. What O stands for? Observe. Observe. What P stands for? Practice. What you have heard, what you have observed, now you practice. What is E stands for?
Experience.
So what you have heard, what you have observed, when you start practicing, you start experiencing. And what is the last but the most important thing? Share. S stands for share. So when you go out and share that with others, that hey, this works, and when these people start practicing, experiencing, and they come and tell you that, hey, wow, it works. So what's going to happen? It will increase your faith further that this process works, isn't it? So that is what is very, very important for us. HOPES. If anything is not following this line, that means we are doing blind following. हम लोग क्या बोल रहे हैं भगवत गीता में? आप आओ, सुनो, ऑब्जर्व करो कि what is happening in your life. Practice what we want you to practice mantra meditation. What we want you to practice, read Bhagavad Gita every day. And what do you experience? You will see the change in your life. You will see the transformation in your life. How you were reacting to the situations prior and how you are responding to the situations now. The same situations coming in your life, you experience that. And you feel that, boss, it works. It works. The true incident I'll tell you, okay? It's little funny, at the same time little tragic. So hear carefully. One of our senior brahmachari, okay, I'll not mention his name because I don't know, because sometimes it gets recorded, right? So one senior brahmachari of our temple, he goes to one of the grihasthas' home, because grihasthas invite brahmacharis for home. साधु को घर पे बुलाते हैं ना हम लोग. अभी आजकल कोई भी साधु रोड पे होता है वो अलग बात है. That is unfortunate thing that people took misadvantage of this or misusing this. But nonetheless, because we know that they are real sadhus, they are actually sacrificing their life for betterment of the humanity. So now this person got invited to home for prasad, and sure enough the wife was serving nice things that were they have prepared, and by mistake, this lady of the house dropped the dal on Prabhuji's dhoti by mistake while serving. थोड़ा दाल उधर गिर गया, and she was very apologetic, and the husband saw that, and husband lost it. Husband started chastising his wife left, right and center in front of Prabhuji, in front of that brahmachari, and that brahmachari was feeling so embarrassed. अरे यार सिर्फ दाल गिरा है, थोड़ा इसको क्या घर पे जाके धोती धो लूँगा यार, कौन सी बड़ी बात है? Why you are making poor lady so much abusing her by your words? And then बाद में हो गया सब प्रसाद हो गया. उसके बाद that brahmachari was apologetic to that lady, saying that sorry Mataji, because of me you have to hear so much from your husband. But then I am very grateful to you because after coming to your association, he has really, really improved. If this thing would have happened, I would have been physically abused. I've been physically beaten up. But just because he has started coming to your classes, he started learning about Bhagavad Gita, now he has come down from the physical abuse to the verbal abuse. And I have a hope that if he continues this process, eventually that will also go away. And it's a real story. So transformation happens in your life. 100% transformation happens in your life. The only things you have to really experience that. मेरे अपनी लाइफ में इतने बिजी रहते हैं हम लोग कि होता नहीं है कुछ, right? And what is the other thing that we talked about? What was the title of the class? Or when we, like our dear Madhav Prabhu figures out some nice images from the AI world and puts it to attract all of you so that you can come. So we talked about whether God is light
or energy,
or God is only Paramatma feature, or God is having a बांसुरी बजाने वाले हैं, कौन है भगवान? So that's why we refer to the Shastras, right? And also, as we talked about the Shastras, before we get to the who God is, right? We also talked about why we have to trust Shastra. Anybody can come and say that, hey, Bhagavad Gita is written by some human being, why I should believe? It's a mythology. No, we discussed who wrote all these Shastras. They are Apaurusha, not written by the humans. Because human is to her, or the to her is to human. Right? Because anything human is going to do, there is going to be a problem. And that's a fact. It's a fact. Because the tendency to commit mistake, tendency to be in illusion, right? That's why we commit mistake. When we commit mistake, what do? We try to cover it up by cheating. And that goes all the way up to scientists. Have you heard that they found a missing link for that Darwin theory? And they really, after many years, they figured out that was a complete hoax. They actually made it up. And it's not a real thing. So you can imagine, even there is you can see there's a documentary of hidden human race of archaeology. Like, it's really amazing. Like, they found evidences which is like, million years old. And they say, like, million years के पहले तो कुछ था ही नहीं, या तो like, it was a stone age. But the kind of objects that they are finding, it is so refined that it is much, much better than like even today's age, what to speak of a stone age. So it is not gelling with their scientific theories. So what they do, they ask to bury those things because it was anyways buried. So bury it again and don't disclose it. That's a cheating thing happening, right? So that's why we should believe in Shastras, because Shastras are apaurushaya. So whatever is given in Shastra is perfect. And what is the other examples we give? Like, how science proves a theory? With axioms. Let there be a point. What is the definition of point? A point is a radius 0. But will you ever can draw a point with the radius 0? You cannot, because if you put it in the microscope, there is always some thing will be there. So it's not possible. But it helps you to define a lot of things. Can you explain infinity? You cannot. Infinity minus 1 is infinity. Infinity minus 10x is infinity. Infinity minus infinity is not 0. Infinity minus infinity is infinity. Right? So these are required to further establish your application on based on those axioms. So similarly, we also had a lot of things given in the Shastras. They said, who goal? Right? There are so many scientists trying to search कि भाई कहाँ है end of the earth. You will never find, क्योंकि वो गोल है, घूमता ही रहेगा भाई तुम. There is no such thing for end of the earth. They used to say, don't go so far, otherwise you will fall off the earth. But our Shastra always said, it's goal. Shastra said the cow dung is antiseptic, cow dung is pure. उसको हम लोग यज्ञ में यूज करते हैं. Dry cow dung is used in the yajna, which is the most purified sacrifice. उसमें यूज करते हैं हम लोग. क्यों? क्योंकि शास्त्र में दिया गया है. And अभी साइंस प्रूव कर रहा है कि there is nothing impure in cow dung. It's absolutely pure. All antiseptic properties are there in the cow dung. और हम लोग गांव वालों को गवार बोलते थे, जो घर बनाते थे जिसमें लीपन रहता था, लाइक यू नो उसका जो फ्लोरिंग होता था वो भी काउडंग का, दीवारें भी काउडंग की होती थी। और हमको गवार बोलते हैं, गवार हम है। वी आर एक्चुअली यूजिंग अ टॉक्सिक intoxicants in the, like you know, toxics in the paint, so much chemicals and so much these things into that. If you have the same thing with the help of powder, it is so pure, it is so wonderful, it will be so healthy, you know, but we are so bombarded by this, so we क्या कर सकते हैं? कुछ नहीं कर सकते। But nonetheless, that doesn't mean that we discount the Shastras. Shastras is very, very powerful. It is all given what it is, so perfect, you know. So similarly, there are so many things given in the Shastras, so we have to accept it and move forward. तो उसमें फिर ऐसा नहीं कि अभी मुझे ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कि भाई ये जो हिरण्याक्ष था वो पृथ्वी को रसातल में कैसे लेके गया, इम्पॉसिबल है, कैसे हो सकता है? अभी शास्त्र में दिया तो यू आर एक्सेप्टिंग अदर थिंग्स, यू हैव टू एक्सेप्ट अदर स्टफ एज वेल, राइट? Is it just a matter of fact that you don't understand doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. We don't see the things as they are. We see the things as we are. हम लोग दुनिया को जैसी है वैसे देखते नहीं, हम दुनिया को कैसे देखते हैं? जैसे हम हैं। If you wear a yellow color glass, you will see everything yellow. If you see a red color glass, you will see everything red. That is how the things are. But you don't see the things as they are. You can see only when you are proficient knowledge from the Shastra and the proficient sadhana by which you can see. And we will talk about how to see things today. Today's verse is all about that. So coming back to the point of who God is, right? From the Shastras we understand that the God has three features: Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. So people fight. God means what? Only light, only energy. There is no personal form. No, God has all the three things. How the sun has a sunlight. You cannot can you separate the sun from the sunlight? You cannot. You cannot have. Can you have a sunlight without sun? Not possible. Similarly, the Brahman is nothing but the effulgence of the Lord. So you cannot separate the Brahman from the Lord. So Brahman is the one of the feature of the Lord. Then what is another feature of the Lord? That Lord has compassionately expanded himself into everything. It is said that Lord is in every atom and every in between of the atom. So what to speak of, Lord is there as a super soul in every one of us. Every one of us and every living entity. 8.4 million species of life, all of them have super soul traveling with them. Paramatma. Can you imagine the amazing feature of the Lord? We want to give away the Lord, we want to separate from the Lord, but Lord is never want to separate from us. That is Lord, that is Paramatma feature. And the Bhagavan, right? The Supreme Personality of God, He has the features as well. We say, okay, we have something that God cannot have. Doesn't make sense. But His form is not like ours. Ours is a material form, which has two limitations. What are the two limitations the material form has? It has the boundary, right? I cannot expand myself right now. I am sitting here. I cannot expand to go into that room. I have to walk and go. I cannot just suddenly happens like that. Right? And if I even learn some siddhi by which I can go there, but somebody has to sit, I cannot be here. Right? That's not possible. But Lord can do that. Lord can do that. Right? We talk about that particular wonderful example of Narad Muni going to meet with Sri Krishna in Dwarka. He was seeing Sri Krishna is playing chess with Rukmini Devi and doing something else in Satyabhama's palace, doing something else in Nagnajiti's palace. How many queens Lord Krishna had? 16,108. All the palaces, Krishna was present at the same time. ऐसा नहीं है कि यहाँ पता चला कि अभी नारद मुनि सत्यभामा के पैलेस में जरा भाग के उधर चले गए पीछे से. Lord doesn't have to do that. His body is not made up of material things. He's absolutely spiritual. Absolutely spiritual. So that is why the Lord can do anything and everything. So Lord has three features. So we don't have to fight. If somebody is happy with an impersonal feature, want to worship impersonal feature, no problem. Om Namo Narayana. We are with you. No problem. Worship that. And somebody wants to worship Sri Krishna in his Tribhanga form. It's most amazing. It's most amazing. Right? So three features of the Lord: Brahman, Paramatma, and Sri Bhagavan. Okay? So that's what we discussed last time. So we are going to discuss something very, very interesting today. Okay, so we'll go into today's verse. So you can repeat after me. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. Finally, we are on the verse number 5.18. 5th chapter, 18th verse. If you have it, then let me know. 5.18. Everybody got it? Okay, so it's fairly simple. You can repeat after me. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne.
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne.
Brahmane Gavihastini.
Brahmane Gavihastini.
Shnicheva Svakecha.
Shnichena Svakecha.
Pandita Samadarshina.
Pandita Samadarshina.
The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater, in bracket outcast. Want to read Prabhu? Saurabh, want to read?
आप कर लो
अच्छा
phone.
ये तो अमित, you want to read? Amit can read.
Purport. A Krishna conscious person does not make any distinctions between species and caste. The Brahmana and the outcast may be different from the social point of view. Or a dog, a cow, an elephant may be different from the point of view of species. But these differences of body are meaningless from the viewpoint of a learned transcendentalist. This is due to the relationship to the Supreme. For the Supreme Lord, by her plenary proportion as Paramatma, is present in everyone's heart. Such an understanding of the Supreme is real knowledge. As far as the bodies are concerned, in different castes or different species of life, Lord is equally kind to everyone because He treats every living being as friend, yet maintains Himself as Paramatma, regardless of the circumstances of the living entities. The Lord as Paramatma is present both in the outcast and in the Brahmana, although the body of Brahmana and that of outcast are not the same. The bodies are material productions of different modes of material nature, but the soul and the supersoul within the body are of the same spiritual quality. The similarity in the quality of the soul and the supersoul, however, does not make them equal in quantity. For the individual soul is present only in that particular body, whereas the Paramatma is present in each and every body. A Krishna conscious person has full knowledge of this, and therefore he is truly learned and has equal vision. The similar characteristic of the soul and the supersoul are that they both are cautious, eternal, and blissful. But the difference is that the individual soul is cautious within the limited jurisdiction of the body, whereas the supersoul is cautious of all bodies. The supersoul is present in all bodies without distinction.
Okay. So here Krishna is saying to Arjuna that a humble sages, by the virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. So when we claim, right, today's topic, we say that if somebody who develops the true knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, then we can bring the real world peace in this world. What is the major problem of not having a world peace? Can anybody tell me? Why do you see that the world peace has not established despite so many organizations trying and working hard, right, to establish the world peace? Why do you think Okay, that's one of the thing. So one country feels superior over the other country. Okay, what else?
One wants to control.
One wants to control, dominate others. Anyone else?
Negative thinking.
Sorry?
Negative thinking.
Negative thinking.
Eating habits,
Eating habits. How does it do with the word?
tamasic eating habits. How we define the food habits. So some countries eat meat. They majorly depend on meat. So their thought process is also defined on that manner.
Okay, so you're going to the root of the problem. You are
Yes.
saying that why somebody is thinking the way they are thinking is because of their food habits. Okay, interesting. Interesting. I never thought that way, that food can lead to such a thing. That's very wonderful point.
Everyone wants to conquer the world. We want to
Everyone wants to rule the world.
rule the world.
Okay.
And less spiritual practices.
Less spiritual practices, that is the cause. Okay.
Competitive mindset.
Competitive mindset.
सब लोग की थिंकिंग सेम लेवल पे नहीं है,
सब लोग की थिंकिंग सेम लेवल पे नहीं है.
डिफरेंट बिलीव्स है, सबकी अटैचमेंट अलग है, आइडेंटिटी
आइडेंटिटी अलग अलग है. एंड अभी जो रिसेंट वॉर्स हो रहे हैं बिटवीन इजराइल एंड पैलेस्टीनियन, व्हाट इज द कॉज ऑफ दैट? It is not power hungry, right? Religion, right? Many people say religion is the biggest problem in this world, right? So is wars fought over religion? Can somebody Google by the time we are discussing anybody's phone, just Google it, that what was the cause of World War I, what was the cause of World War II, and what could be the cause of World War III? So if you see today's day and age, people say religion is the root cause, right? ये सब कुछ हो रहा है because you are differentiating people on the basis of your religion, and he is Hindu, he is Muslim, he is Sikh, he is Parsi, he is Christian, and you are fighting over these things, right? So that's where somebody came up with an interesting billboard that was quite, I believe, 30 years back. On the roads of the Mumbai, there was quite an interesting billboard. What that billboard say? We are neither following Hinduism, we are not following Muslimism or Islamism, whatever, Christianity or Christianism. We are following Indianism. What are we following? Indianism. So they feel like that will unite people, right? But that will unite to whom? Only the Indians, right? Then there will be a Chineism, there will be Sri Lankanism, Pakistanism. Still the world peace will never be established with that, right? That will never be a peace. Why? Because we are always trying to identify with something which we are not, as some of you has rightly said. Here, American is identifying as I am an American, Indian is identifying as any, like I am an Indian, or Bharatiya nowadays we should call it Bharatiya, right? Pakistani will say I am Pakistani. So there will never be a world peace. But there was a scene of world peace that was created very close to Calcutta, about 150 kilometers away, back in, I think, when was it? The installation of Panchatattva? 2012 or 2010? Huh? 2005 or something. Anyway, somewhere between 2000 to 2010, there was the beautiful deities of Panchatattva: Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar Pandit, and Srivas Thakur. These are the 5 amazing personalities who took birth 500 years ago. So उनका installation था, the deity installation. And under one roof, there was practically every nationality person was present, and they were respecting each other like anything, and every one of them was chanting Hare Krishna. Now you may show because you are ISKCON and you want to do. Please, don't do that. We are not trying to say that. What we are trying to, let's appreciate what one person could do. Srila Prabhupada. He alone brought Chinese, American, Indonesian, Iranian, Russian, everybody under one roof, respecting each other. It's not just saying, okay, tu American hai, tu tera samal aisa nahi. They are respecting each other. They were having loving exchanges with each other. And from each, not just nationality, but from each religion, each race, there were yellow people, there were red people, there were black people, there were white people, there were brown people, all colors of people were there. There were people from Muslim background, there were people from Hindu background, there were people from Parsi background, there were people from Sikh background. Everybody was there. Why? Because they all identified themselves as Atma, that I am the spirit soul and I need to love God. That is how they were able to stay together. And when Prabhupada was there in Chicago, and Chicago is even till today, Chicago has the highest crime rate. And they approached Prabhupada, the commissioner of police, to Prabhupada saying that is there anything that your movement can do to reduce the crime, help us reduce the crime? He said, you give us opportunity to do Harinam in your streets and you will see your crime rate will 100% come down. And it has proven. In fact, it's a true story. One person was given a supari. That guy was really, jo bolte hain na, gunda type person. He was given a supari to kill one person. And he used to stand below the Malad bridge, Malad का जो सबवे था ना, उधर वो नीचे खड़ा रहता था और वो वहाँ पे वो पर्सन का राह देखता था कि आने वाला है इधर. और उसी टाइम पे for whatever reason the Harinam party used to go, the Sankirtan party. And वो उसके पास बड़ा चाकू भी था. I don't know whether you guys know in those days, I'm talking about 80s and 90s. They are not talking about guns. They had a have you heard of something called Rampuri chaku? It was a big chara type or something like that, by which they used to murder people. So that person was holding it under his shirt or something like that, and he was ready to do it, but somehow उसका हाथ ही नहीं चल रहा था. And he was wondering क्या हो रहा है, and he was getting attracted to this holy names. And finally उसने 10 दिन ट्राई किया. Finally वो संकीर्तन पार्टी के पास गया और बोला where is your temple, where are you guys from? Sometimes people when they see Harinam people and these people, they feel they feel that they are from a different planet. बोलते किधर से आप लोग? Where are you all from? And actually this person comes and surrenders, goes to the police as well and confesses his intentions and everything else. And whatever उसको जो भी सजा काटना था वो जेल में काटने के बाद he actually comes to the temple and becomes a full-time devotee. Right now he is an initiated devotee. So these are facts. These are true stories. There is no exaggerations. People have come and completely got attracted to the holy name because it is pure. It is pure. So that is why it is very, very important that we understand. So that particular thing brings the real unity. And I'll tell you one story from the Shastra. It's really amazing that how our kings, our ancestors, जब भी आप लोग यज्ञ करते हो ना तभी क्या पूछा जाता है आपको? एक चीज पूछा जाता है ना, जब आप लोग यज्ञ करते हो तभी क्या पूछा जाता है आपको? गोत्र पूछा जाता है. गोत्र क्या है? कौन से उससे आप आए हो? आप श्रीमद् भागवतम पढ़ोगे ना तो ब्रह्मा से कौन आया? ब्रह्मा ने gave birth to Manu, and Manu gave birth to lot of rishis, and each of these rishi is representing your gotras. So we have actually coming from that particular lineage, right? So the same story comes of Shivi Maharaj. He was a king, and just see what kind of king he was. It's amazing. So the king was there, and suddenly a pigeon flies into his living room. And those were the days where pigeon could express through their language that this big eagle is going to devour me, please save me. Now, at the same time, eagle chasing the pigeon also launches into the living room of Shivi Maharaj. And now, pigeon is saying, "You please save me." So now, what does the eagle say? What kind of a king are you? You are only partial to the pigeons. What will happen to me? That's my food. If I don't eat it, then I will starve to death. You have to do the justice. You are a king. So now he has to see with the equal vision. He has to do the justice between the pigeon and the eagle. Right? So what did the Shivi Maharaj do? He started saying that, okay, I do understand that you also need to, your thing is not to eat only pigeon, right? Your right now requirement is to survive, you need a meat, right? So he started cutting the flesh from his own body and started giving it to the eagle. So what did eagle say? I want the equal amount of meat that is weighing as this pigeon. So the pigeon was put into one side of the tarazu, and the kind of meat that he's scraping the flesh from his own body and putting. But somehow or other, it was such a mysterious pigeon that no matter how much he was putting, the pigeon was weighing higher and higher. So he had to literally give up his life. He said, I give up my entire body to you, eagle, you take it. And that's the time the pigeon and the eagle both transformed into the demigods. And said, we had come to test you, King Shivi, that how powerful king you are. It's not just about conquering people, as we're talking about, right? Controlling and conquering. The real king is the king with compassion and gives shelter to everybody. That is real king. There is another story comes exactly what is being talked about is Brahmane Gali Hastini Suni Cheva Swapakecha. Right? That means he sees the Brahmana, he sees the dog, he sees the elephant and the dog eater in the same platform. Right? So there is a beautiful story comes of the Rantidev in Srimad Bhagavatam. So Rantidev and his family, again he was a king, he was doing some kind of a tapasya where he has to fast for 40 days. Even today, like, some of these Jain people, they fast like amazing, 13, 14 days without anything. They just survive only on some kind of water, hot water or something like that. So this person was actually fasting for 40 days without anything, without water, for 40 days. So now, after the 40 days, there was a nice bhoga was offered to the Lord, and the big plate for his entire family was there. And it was served to king and his family. And while they were about to eat, there is a Brahmana who comes for begging, saying that I am hungry, please give me some food. So what does the king do? King equal portion करते हैं, अपना जो खुद का portion आता है वो ब्राह्मण को दे देते हैं और बाकी का portion जो है divides in his family and feeds the family. Now only thing left for him is now water. Okay. So in the meantime, there is an outcast person who was just walking by. So Brahmana had eaten. उसके बाद भी थोड़ा बहुत रह गया था. So then there is there is a dog comes. Sorry, I just mistake. So first Brahmana was given, and then there is a dog comes, and the dog was also hungry. So dog was also given some food. उसके बाद there is nothing left, and this Rantidev has not eaten anything. The family has eaten everything. Brahmana ate, the dog ate, everything was finished. Now the Chandala comes. You know who is Chandala? Chandala is somebody who eats dog. They survive on dog's meat. They are actually outcast people. They don't live in the society. They live outside of the society. Now this person comes and is saying, "Oh king, I am so thirsty. Can you give me water?" Now after 40 days of fasting, right? This person was almost about to die if he did not drink this particular water which is in front of him. If the king does not drink that water, he would die. But what he does, without any discrimination, he gives the water to this Chandala as well. Saying that please take it and pray to Vishnu, saying that, "Oh my Lord, if this is what your desire is, I am okay to do that." but I cannot see anybody coming to me and deprived of anything. So without any discrimination, or any distinction rather, we will come back to this word of discrimination. Without distinction, he gives the water to Chandala. And he was almost collapsing. That time again, all this Brahmana, this dog, and the dog eater Chandala, they all transformed into the demigods. And said that we had come to show your glory to the entire world. So these are the things. It's not that, oh, this king knew that it's a match fixing. ऐसा नहीं था कि मैं demigod बन के आऊँगा और तुमको ऐसा करना है. No, it's no match fixing. It's all real thing. How such great people used to exist. It's really, really amazing. I don't know how many of you. In fact, I heard the true story from my own family as well. My wife's family back in the village. It is said that उस टाइम पे ना सिर्फ सुबह एक बस आती थी और शाम को एक बस आती थी. बस दो ही बस आती थी वो गाँव में. तो कभी अगर पंचर वगैरह हो गया ना, तो बस के जितने भी यात्री थे ना, कि अभी उधर होटल का कोई कंसेप्ट नहीं था 50 साल पहले. देयर वाज नो सच थिंग कॉल्ड होटल्स, राइट? तो अगर ये 50 यात्री है तो अभी वो खाना कहाँ खाएंगे? हाँ, तो ये इनका जो शुक्ला जी का घर है ना, वहाँ पे जाके हो जाएगा प्रसाद. तो somebody used to go and say there are about 50 people and they were not just simple दाल चावल, पूरा फीस्ट बनता था. दाल चावल रोटी सब्जी मिठाई के साथ, शीरा या हलवा बनता था. अभी आज एक मेहमान भी आ गया अपने घर पे तो स्विगी, you know, let's just order from Swiggy or Zomato and things like that. पहले actually अतिथि कहा जाता था, right? That means, you know, person comes without. Today only we were discussing. I have a Bhagavatam group, which is really amazing. You know, so we were discussing that, you know, those were the old days where somebody, your friends or your relatives, just like, you know, knock on your door and you say, hey, come on, after a long time, suddenly you are here. It's such a joy, right? Now we have to have so-called surprises, but like, you know, it was an inbuilt thing. Atithi means what? Surprise only, isn't it? So people used to come and have so much things. So he wanted to give a surprise to his own brother who lives in Hyderabad, one of my friends. Now he goes there. And he really wanted to see that smile on his brother, right? That, you know, you have come just like that. So he went there and he has a gated community. The security said, I cannot let you in unless until you inform, or at least I have to inform that somebody has come to visit you. But look, even if you want to give surprise, today's day and age, you cannot give. It's not possible. So this whole अतिथि thing, like, you know, अभी तो किसी ने बोला रे बिना बुलाए आ गया, कुछ बोलना तो चाहिए था ना कि आ रहा है ये वो है. ऐसे कैसे? We call it यार कैसे? If there is a husband wife के thing पे रहेगा, like, you know, all side people are like this only, like, you know, ऐसे टपक जाता है. But the concept of अतिथि has completely gone, you know. It's absolutely gone. I still remember my mother, you know, sometimes some relative used to come, वो रात की ट्रेन से जा रहे हैं और यहाँ रुक रहे हैं, फिर दूसरे दिन दूसरी ट्रेन पकड़ के जाना है. तो रात को 11 बजे आए तो कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है ना, खाने कभी खाना खा के आया रहेगा ना. नहीं, मेरी माँ बना दी थी खाना, लेकिन गरम गरम रोटियां बनाएगी, गरम गरम सब्जी बनाएगी, शीरा बनाएगी. और एंड यू वंडर कि यार ये रात को क्यों आते हैं लोग ऐसा. बट इट्स आवर प्रॉब्लम, बट दे हैड नो प्रॉब्लम. दे वर वेरी हैप्पी फीडिंग पीपल एंड दैट्स व्हाई यू सी such people's home will have no problem. Believe me, the family who feeds never have to starve, never ever. You know, that is a basic principle we have forgotten. You know? So that is what the equal vision is. That we see everybody, and that is what the formula of world peace. When you see person as a soul, as an atma, and what is the other thing is just the covering, right? That is why we see all these things that we see in the world about, as Saurabh, a very beautiful point he made about meat eating. So somebody says, like, you know, if you say that you have to see everybody equally, that means, you know, you have to see the dog also equally, you have to see the cow also equally. So means you have to see the hen also equally, the chicken also equally, right? How can you? I don't know. It's very, very difficult for me because I'm a born vegetarian. So please forgive me if anybody is eating meat. I'm not trying to offend you or anything, but please mind it when you are eating where it is coming from. Many a times, the majority of the meat eaters have no idea where that meat is being served from. They just see a fancy plate in the restaurant with the garnish of coriander and all the other things. And just because it tastes so good, you are ready to take somebody's life. Maybe I say, your son's or daughter's flesh tastes so good, can I just have it for the dinner? It is as simple as that. It is as simple as that. It is really amazing that, there is a beautiful story comes in the Journey Home book, which my spiritual master wrote as his own experiences. This came from Chicago. And he was having, because he's an American, right? Roaming around as a sadhu. So somebody out of hospitality said, I'll give you a lunch. So roadside dhaba mein dono jan baithe hote hain. And then there was a biryani served to him. And it is a roadside dhaba. It's obvious seen in India, right? The cows also roam around in the streets. So there is a one cow and a calf were sitting there next to the restaurant. It's an open restaurant, roadside restaurant. And he was served with the biryani and there are some chunks on top of it. So this American Swami asked him that, my dear host, what is this? He said, oh, it's biryani. But what is this chunks on top of it? And he's saying, can you imagine at that time? He's saying, oh, it's beef. And at the same time, the cow and the calf were sitting next to him. The calf was so loving that calf started licking that American Swami out of love or whatever. And he made a connection that this calf is having a loving exchanges with me. He's like, licking my hand. And what is right now on top of this biryani is nothing but the flesh of the same calf or a cow. How can I eat it? Somebody could be so loving, and how can I eat it? So many a times we have a problem because we do not connect the dots that where this is coming from. Just because it is served in a so nice place or so nice ambience, you don't realize that. And that's why somebody said nice thing that I don't want my stomach to be a graveyard. That means all the things. So we'll end with this. So the question is asked before we end. So somebody may come and challenge you, right? Okay, if you're telling that you have to see everything equally, right? Then we heard that plant also have life. Plant also have soul. So are you not killing the plant? If you're telling me not to eat meat, right? Then what about plants? You are also killing. So what will you say? How will you answer that? आप एक बार जो बोल रहे हो सबको एक दृष्टि से देखना है, अभी आप खुद डिस्टिंक्शन बना रहे हो कि भाई काव एक अलग जगह है, चिकन एक अलग जगह है, और ये करेला एक जगह है. करेला तो नहीं बोलेंगे, केला बोलेंगे. चलो करेला कोई खाएगा नहीं वैसे भी इतना. So you eat vegetarian food, but that is also killing. You are killing the plants. Yes or no?
You don't have feeling.
Sorry?
Plants will not have feeling. They will not feel.
Plants will not have feel. Okay. So I'll give the cow or a chicken what is it? Anesthesia. And they will not feel anything. And I'll eat it.
Regrow.
Huh?
Plant can regrow.
Plant can regrow. Okay.
Soul is not there.
So soul is not there in the plant?
There.
Let's ask, is there a soul in the plant? Yes or no? Yes. Of course. There is no doubt about it.
Nature has produced that particular.
You know what is the biggest story comes about the plants? We celebrated this Damodar month. Anybody remember that? We were offering diya. Then in that what happened? That story also we have shared. Krishna is walking in between the two Arjuna trees. Huh? So who were they? They were nothing but the sons of Kubera. Nala Kubera and Manideva. So they were trees. So tree has soul. There is no question about that. There is no question about that.
So it is defined in the food cycle.
Very
Similarly, eagle is eating pigeon. So we are bound to eat.
Jivo jivasya jivanam. If you have to survive, you have to eat something. Now the choice is yours. What do you eat? You eat something which is mentioned in the Shastras, then it is fine. If you eat something which is not mentioned in the Shastras, you are eating sins. It's as simple as that. So Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. And sometimes it is a common sense also, yeah. You take a child, you don't have to go because as an adult, you become crooked. Child, we call it is innocent, right? Child को आप slaughter house में लेके जाओ, हाँ, और child को चेरी पिकिंग के लिए लेके जाओ या तो एप्पल पिकिंग के लिए लेके जाओ या तो मैंगो पिकिंग के लिए लेके जाओ. Where the child will be most comfortable? In slaughterhouse? I bet even you will not be surviving in the slaughterhouse. You will faint. You will faint. What to speak of the child? So people give all this argument, it's all rubbish. Right? You can't just argue saying that okay, मैं मीट खाता हूँ, आप भी तो वही खाते हो, वनस्पति खाते हो, तो क्या वो भी तो जीव है. अरे भाई ज़्यादातर you have to just anyways that flower or that fruit has to be fall off, right? Most of the time. Then what about the roots and other things? So there are actually higher people who don't even eat roots. It's all about your consciousness. The less harm you can do to something, that is what you need to do. That's what you need to do. And anyways you have to survive on something. That is the rule of this world. You can't. Without that it's not possible. So you do the less harm to anybody and survive yourself. That is what it is. So here when it says equal vision, that means what? That you don't do distinction. So I'll give you the very wonderful example that I learned. You have these 5 fingers. Okay? What does this mean?
Thumb.
It's a positive sign? Yes, no?
Yes.
Same हाथ का finger है.
Index.
Pointing.
Is it positive? Negative. Right? Now you are discriminating between this finger and this finger or this finger. Right? You are discriminating what it means. But when it comes to protect them, will you say चलो ये अंगूठा काट दो चलेगा मेरे को, ये काट दो चलेगा, छोटी उंगली है ना काट दो चलेगा? No. When it comes to protect them, you equally protect it. You're getting my point? So you may give a different understanding to somebody. Now let's say when we say equal vision, तो मतलब क्या है ना, लोग उसको इतना एक्सट्रापोलेट करते हैं कि रबर टूट जाता है. कैसे करते हैं? अभी समझो कि नरेंद्र मोदी जी आए, he is the Prime Minister of India, and there is the lowest level of peon in the same PMO office. He also by chance happened to be there. मतलब नरेंद्र मोदी and same. तो काले मैं पहले पियून को पहनाऊंगा, उसको बुके पियून को दूंगा, नरेंद्र मोदी को ऐसे रहने दो. क्यों? इक्वल है ना सब. ठीक है? नहीं है वो. There is a difference between distinction and discrimination. But that doesn't mean that you discriminate whenever you want. It has to be at a proper time in a proper way. Believe me, if you give honor to Prime Minister, the peon is not going to feel bad. वो समझ रहा है ना कि भाई उसका जो होता है उसको मान मिल रहा है भाई. But as a person, you have to respect both. Narendra Modi as well as peon. As a person. That is very, very important. And that is what is exactly being talked about. Many people और खास करके हमारे सनातन धर्म में ही इतना जातिवाद और इतना ये हो गया that you are completely misunderstanding this. You have to see everybody equally in a way that is really, really required. और इसका पूरा उल्टा कर दिया हमने. अरे ये ब्राह्मण है, ये आउटकास्ट है, इसको ऐसा होना ही नहीं चाहिए. There is actually, how many of you have gone to the Udupi temple? It is in the south, near Mangalore. There is a person who was considered to be an outcast, but is such a devoted person, such a devoted person. The Lord actually turned his face. Kanaka Kendi. There is still that khidki, somebody told me today now that khidki is also going to be made up of gold in the remembrance of Kanakadas. So there is no discrimination. We discriminate, but Lord never discriminate. And the person who have achieved the highest God consciousness, Krishna consciousness, that person also doesn't distinguish. He has to discriminate. See, try to understand. There's a difference between discriminating and there's a difference between distincting. You know, somebody ko hai usko, it's a very thin line. As I remember this example, you use this finger, each represents different things. Okay, each represents different things. But when it comes to nourishing, it comes to the protecting, each one is equal to you. It's not that ye bada, ye chota, aisa nahi. You see the same part of it. So you see the same soul in each of this. Each of, be it a Russian, be it an American, be it Pakistani, or whoever it is. But when he comes to you as an opponent, you have to deal with him as an opponent. That time you cannot say, "Arey, ye bhi spirit soul hai. Let me embrace." Like, you know, let's say there is a tiger, right? Tiger coming and you say, "Oh, I also have the same spirit soul. He is also another spirit soul. Let me embrace a tiger." No, you have to discriminate there, right? But that doesn't mean that, like, you know, you get a gun and kill the tiger. You're getting the point. You respect that this tiger, this soul has a different covering as a tiger. That doesn't mean that I abuse that living entity. But at the same time, it's not that, oh, it's the same spirit soul, let me just go and embrace. No, that is also not there. So you maintain a respectful distance. That is what it is being mentioned in this verse. And when that is being practiced, the world peace is easily achieved. There is no problem at all. Because we are seeing beyond the boundaries. We are seeing everyone as a part and parcel of God. Okay? So we'll end here. If anybody has any questions or comments, we'll take. Otherwise, we'll do again maybe 11 times of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and we'll have Prashadam. Okay? Anybody has any questions, comments? Madhav Prabhu, you want to add anything? Yes.